Hi, yogi friends. I'm Stacy. Welcome to Finding Balance and Hatha. Before we begin on our mat, I just wanted to let you know that I am going to be using a yoga block. And I realize not everybody has one at home. So there's other things you could use, maybe a thick book, or I think what really works nice is a box, like a shoe box, because then you can do the different sizes. Excuse me. Different sizes. So I'm going to put this at the top of my mat. I will meet you on your mat. We're going to begin in child's pose. Big toes together, knees are wide. Reaching those fingertips out in front of you. We're just going to begin with a relaxed arm. So forearms, maybe touching the mat, maybe even your forehead is on the ground. Just starting to feel all points of contact on your mat. And then start to work on the breath. Begin inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. Every inhale, you begin to open up your lungs a little bit more, all the way up to the top of your chest. And then match that on your exhale, slowly exhaling all the air to get the bottom of your belly. Just continuing to work on the breath, sort of warming up our insides, preparing for our practice. As I was thinking about our sequence today, finding balance, which can maybe cue into possible balancing poses, I was also thinking about how we are working on balancing in life, our day-to-day struggle with balance. And I know that it's maybe different for everybody. Perhaps it's just different every day for you. Maybe if you're working at home and that balance of when to stop working. We work outside the home. It's not that we completely forget about work when we get home, but there is that little bit of a way of closing the door, coming home, then you're home. If you're at home and you're working, maybe you think about one more email, or, oh, maybe I should have sent out that email, these sort of things. And just finding that balance, finding the balance of eating and drinking and walking by that cupboard and just opening up. I do that. Open up, you're looking at it, and then you think, am I actually hungry, or am I just, maybe I'm bored, or it's habit? Finding that balance. Something that I've been thinking about, and I know a lot of people feel this way, is the balance of what I hear, what I read, maybe in the news, on social media. We all want to stay current and connected. We definitely want to stay educated, but sometimes we need to stop and find the balance of how much is too much. And so I think finding balance, you need to find something that maybe you get out of your own head. And I know that's different for everyone. Maybe you go for a walk, maybe you call a friend, um, maybe you sit in the sun, drink some coffee, read a book, whatever it is that you need to do. Maybe it's coming here on this mat, taking the time to become focused and present, working on staying here, doing this. There's a couple of poses in the sequence that I find myself to be challenging, something that I'm working at. We're always working and trying to improve ourselves. And by working on challenging poses, there's no time for anything else to be in my head. I'm just working on my poses, breathing through my poses. So maybe that's something to consider when you're trying to find balance. We're going to start activating our arms. So we still have our arms reaching out. We're reaching those fingertips out. Fingers are fanned open. We're going to lift those arms up off the mat. So strong arms, reaching. Fingertips are open. Pressing those fingertips as you sort of feel this nice stretch beginning to work in your arms. Excuse me. In your shoulder blades. And keep thinking about that breath. Really opening up those lungs. And then walk those hands over to the right. Just getting a little bit of a stretch here, a little opening of our side body. Maybe left hand rests on your right hand. Just getting a little extra stretch, a little warming. Just a reminder, we're just beginning. So we want to sort of open up our bodies, get them ready for the practice, but we don't want to harm ourselves. So if you're feeling like this is just too much too soon, ease back. Walk those hands through center, over to the left. Maybe right hand is on top of your left. Let's come back to center. Let's meet on all fours in tabletop. Our fingers are still fanned out, so we have active arms. Shoulders are above the wrists, and then your hips are over your knees in our tabletop. Then we're just going to get a little bit of movement with our spine. So we're going to start with some cat-cow, and lower that belly. As you inhale, your chest is lifted up, gaze is lifted up, and you exhale, tucking that tailbone in, rounding the shoulders, chin to chest, pressing those hands against your mat. Inhale, lower that belly, gaze is up, exhale, tuck that tailbone in, press those hands, really rounding the spine. Do it a couple more times at your own breath pace. Come back to neutral. We're just going to do a little bit of the wag the tail, but maybe you're looking a little bit over here, your left shoulder, looking over towards that left hip. Gentle twist. Just, again, we don't want to harm. We're just warming up here. And slowly going over to the right. Just taking a peek over there. Maybe we're seeing that right hip. Let's do this a couple more times. If you need a little extra movement, this is the time to do it. Whatever your body needs. I'm going to come back to neutral. And I'm going to go over my wrist just a little bit. I think you can see me. So I'm sort of just a little bit. We don't want to hurt, but I just want to warm up my wrist just a little bit. So I'm pressing my hands against the mat. And then I'm going to press away, hips to heels, just getting a different stretch here. Really activating those arms. You can feel this in my shoulders. Coming back up. Maybe you're staying at neutral. Maybe you want to go forward just a little bit. And then back. Just do that one more time. Let's meet back at tabletop neutral. Now this time we're going to bring the right foot in between your hands. Go into a low lunge here. Check your alignment. Your knee is stacked over your ankle. And then you can get a little movement here if you'd like. If you like, you need to move around. Maybe not. Maybe you're staying still. Your hands can be planted. Maybe you want to lift them up on the fingertips, making like little tents with your hands. Whatever you need. Start to feel like moving that left hip forward and back. Really just getting a nice stretch here, inner thighs. I'm going to straighten my right leg, going into my half split. So my right leg is straight, heels on the mat, toes are pointing towards the ceiling. Then I just start to feel, what do I need to do with my hip? Do I need to go back, my left hip forward, back? Again, we're just trying to get a nice stretch here. Really sure you can feel this in the hamstrings. If your right leg isn't completely straight, that's okay. If you start to feel some tugging behind the knee, give it a little bend. Breathing into it. Going back into low lunge. Stay down, or if you'd like, maybe you want to come up, hands to knees, and start to engage those muscles. So you start to feel like you're wobbling, losing balance a little bit. Really squeeze the glutes, activate those quads. We start to feel like we're moving around, losing balance. This is a really great way, just really activating those muscles. You may want to lift those arms up to the sky. Maybe your gaze is coming up to the ceiling. So plant those hands down. Going into half split again, so that right leg is straight. Toes are pointing towards that ceiling. Maybe you're activating just a little bit more, so your toes are starting to come towards your face a little bit more. Whatever you need. Back to low lunge. You can stay here, or if you'd like a little extra, I'm going to plant my right hand the inside of my right foot. And then I'm lifting my left hand up to the ceiling at 12 o'clock. Holding on. Breathing into it. And then we're going to switch hands. Left hand is now on the inside of my right foot. And then I'm going to reach up that right hand. If you're feeling like this is just not working for you, of course we don't want to be hurting here, but this is always a nice time to use your block, your box, your book, whatever you're using. Place that next to your foot and then plant that left hand on the block and see what it feels like. That works a little better for you. Let's plant the hands. Coming back into tabletop. We're going to do a modified side plank. So my right leg, right knee, and the top of my right shin stays flat on the floor. And then I'm going to extend my left foot out. Right hand is on the mat, pressing the mat away as I lift my left hand up over my head. Now, if you wanted to challenge yourself and you're ready for it, you could always go into a full side plank. But here in this modified plank, we're still getting a really nice stretch. And we're really working the arms because our arms are active. Feeling those strong arms. Stay here if you'd like. You could lift that left leg up. Find a little balance here. And then maybe let's do some leg lifts. How about 10? Keep breathing. Really warming up those glutes. 2 more, 9 and 10. Lower that left leg down. I'm going to plant the palm of my foot on that mat. And then I'm just going to lift up a little bit. Maybe finding a little bit of extra balance here, really working with our glutes and our obliques. Maybe going with hands to heart center. Maybe even reaching out, holding that imaginary beach ball. Plant that hand down. Using our core, we're going to lift up Parigasana, gate pose. So that left foot is planted on the mat, toes are facing forward. My left hand is sliding down my left leg as I reach up and over with my right hand, palm is facing down. Right shoulder comes back a little bit to open up that chest. Really try not to dump into our weight forward. We want to open up. Maybe your gaze is coming up. Whatever works best for your neck. This is such a nice pose. Really, the stretch on your side body, the nice stretch on the ankle. I love this pose. Arm comes down. Now I'm going to turn towards the back of my mat. Left foot is forward. Now I do realize if you're moving now to the back of your mat, I'm behind you. So maybe you want to stay there. Maybe you want to see how well I do at verbal cueing if you can follow me. And if you don't, you can always turn around, face the front of your mat. Doing your yoga at home is nice because no one's going to say, hey, why is she facing that way? And then make sure you have your left foot in front of you. We want to make sure we match our sides. Both sides get both the work. We're in our low lunge. So that right leg is extended out. Notice that it's on the top of my foot. And then I have that bend. So the knee is over the ankle. Again, maybe you're up on your fingertips. Maybe your hands are planted down. Maybe you're still, maybe you're moving. What do you need? Begin straightening that left leg, half split, toe pointing up to the ceiling. You may notice that maybe one side of your body feels a little more flexible. We just continue to keep matching it. It's very normal. Want to keep working at it. Low lunge. If you did so on the other side, maybe brought hands to knees, engaging all those muscles in your leg and your glutes. Maybe hands over your head. Maybe your gaze is coming up. Plant those hands. Going back into a half split. Maybe you're getting a little more of a stretch here. Toes are coming back towards your face. Low lunge. And then do whatever you did on the other side. If you tried the hand down, left palm is now down, and next to the inside of your left foot, reaching up with your right hand. Really engage those muscles. And bringing that right hand down. Maybe it's on the block. Maybe you're just lifting up. Press that hand, that right hand away from the mat. You lift up a little bit more with the left hand up to the ceiling. Bring that hand down. Going into our tabletop, we're going to do that modified plank on the other side. So this time the left knee is down. Left knee, left shin, not chin. Extend that right foot out. Left hand presses against the mat as you lift up with that right hand up to the ceiling. Really feeling this. Strong arms. If you attempted a full side plank on the other side, please match it and do that now. Maybe we're going to lift that right leg up. Do a couple lifts here. Lower your right leg. Palm of your foot is flat on the mat. Toes are pointing towards you. Use that core. Lift up, gate pose. Bring that right hand, sliding it down that right leg as you lift over with that left hand. Palm is down. It's a straight arm. Open up that chest. Lift that heart up. Really getting a nice stretch here in those intercostal muscles. Really helps open up those ribs. Helps expand lung capacity. Any stretch that I can help with my breathing, I am all for it, and I love this stretch. This is a wonderful pose. Lower your left hand down. Now I'm turning to the front of my mat again. Right foot is in front. And plant the hands. And step back into a high plank for just a moment. Your fingers are fanned out. You're pressing against that mat. Strong arms. Your feet are hip width distance apart. And our hips lift. Downward facing dog. Strong arms pressing against the mat. Your chest is coming towards your thighs. Now we're just going to do a little bit of movement here. Just sort of up and down, pedaling the feet, walking the dog. Just really warming up those hamstrings, your calves. Whatever kind of movement that you enjoy at this time. I like to go up on my toes, and then I settle back down, and I start to feel that my heels become closer to the mat when I do that. Maybe your legs aren't completely straight. Maybe your heels aren't touching the mat, and that's okay. Really want our hips up. Breathe into it. You can always come back to this pose. You can always take time to have a sip of water, maybe going into child's pose, whatever it is that you need. Inhale, right foot comes up, pointing up towards the ceiling. Bend that right leg. Step it between your hands. Lower your left heel down. Virabhadrasana, warrior two. Our first warrior two. Notice your alignment. So you want to have knee over ankle. So you're getting a really nice bend here. Left foot is at a 45-degree angle. And your arms are active. They're strong. Fingertips are reaching for opposite sides of the room. And then your gaze can come to those right fingertips. Breathe into it. Feel that stretch, strong legs. Hinge forward. Flip the palm. Now we're going to reverse the warrior. So you're going to scoop up over the ceiling. Left hand is sliding down my left leg as I get this nice extension in my spine, lifting up with my chest. Keeping that bend in my right leg. Rising back up, going to an extended side angle. Utthita Parsvakonasana. So we have the bend in that right leg. My right forearm is resting on my right thigh as I reach over, my left hand over my head, palm is facing down. You start to feel like this is a really nice stretch here. You can feel this on your side body. I'm trying to have a straight line from the outside of my left foot all the way up to my left fingertips. Now there's very little weight in this right forearm. We could even stretch out, going for that beach ball. Ooh, I'm already shaking, guys. Now I'm going to pivot so that my face is looking towards my mat. Now I'm up on my left toes, on my sort of on the balls of my foot. I'm sort of ready to spring up, preparing for my warrior three. As I lift up, whew, left leg is reaching out behind me. My foot is flexed. My right leg is straight. And I try to have my gaze towards the front of my mat. Lowering down a little bit more. Maybe left hip lowers a little bit. Trying to find some leveling between the hips. This is a really challenging pose for me. I told you we're going to be doing some of these, so bear with me. Woo! I'm reaching for my block, which was sort of out of my way. And now I'm going to go into my Ardha Chandrasana. This is half moon. This is a very challenging pose for me also. I told you I'm working on my balance. I'm working on tough things. Maybe your hand is flat on your block. Maybe you kind of lift it up. Get on those fingertips. Start to feel, as you find your balance, start to feel like, oh, I can feel the muscles that I need to activate. As you're lifting up, using those obliques. And start to breathe. And then I'm going to take my block with me as I lower that left foot down to the mat. Going into goddess, our goddess pose. Heels are in, toes are out. See this nice stance in our legs. As we lower down, start to feel that stretch. Woo, feeling it? And then you can do different things with your arms. I like to have my arms so that I look like I'm carrying a couple of platters. And then I start to open up my chest. Spine is straight. You're lowering down, maybe lifting up one foot, the other. Maybe try to lift up two. Woo! Your legs shaking? Mine are. Lower your feet, rise up. Now we're going to turn, I'm turning towards the back of my mat. Maybe you're going to flip it around and face me. Left foot is in front. So we're going into our pyramid pose, Parsvattanasana. All of your toes are facing forward. We're about maybe 3 feet. Your feet, I'm not really good at judging distance, but whatever works for you. Legs are both straight. Now I'm going to try to level my hips just a little bit. So you have a tendency probably to have that right hip back. Let's just try to bring it forward just a little bit. Trying to have sort of squared hips, leveled. Then I'm going to activate everything before I start to go down. So squeezing my glutes, squeezing my legs, really activating, lifting up those quads. And then slow with control, I'm lowering down. Maybe reaching for my ankle, maybe hands to the floor. Just starting to feel that stretch. Maybe you want to adjust those hips. Bring that right hip forward just a little bit. Again, if you're feeling some pain in your knee, of course you want to stop immediately. But if you're just feeling that tugging the back of your knee, give yourself just a little bend. It's a very challenging pose, but we don't want to harm ourselves. I mean, it's a really, really intense stretch that you're getting right now. I'm going to bend my left leg just a little bit to plant my hands down. Stepping back. We're doing our down dog. Feel a little bit warmed up now. Lift that left leg up. Bend your knee. Plant between your hands, lowering my right heel down. Warrior two. This always takes time. Take a moment, fix your alignment. I gotta check, make sure my knee's over my ankle. Maybe I need a little bit wider stance. Checking to make sure my arm is strong, that it's reaching for opposite ends. Then I'm going to hinge forward. Let's reverse the warrior. Really open up that chest. Lift that heart up. Try to still keep that bend in that left leg. Lower that left forearm down to your left thigh. Going into our extended side angle. Really get a nice stretch here. You feeling it? Maybe reaching out for that beach ball. Then pivoting. Whew. So now I'm looking out, I'm looking down, and I'm hoping I'm not too close to the wall as I go into my warrior three. Whew. Trying to get that left leg straight, reaching out with that right leg. Foot is flexed. I usually have my hands, I'm gonna fall, guys. Told you this is very challenging for me. This is real life here, the challenges. I'm gonna grab this block. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon, reaching up, trying to find my balance, trying to find my strong body. Ooh. Keep working at it, guys. And bend my knee just a little bit, and then lower down, right foot to the mat. Our heels are together, toes are apart. Malasana, garland pose. A lot of people say it's a yogi squat, so I'm sure you've heard it different ways. Excuse me. I'm going to bring my hands heart center, and I'm going to lower down. So you're lowering down, continue to lower, and then when your heels begin to pop up, that's when you want to stop. Maybe someday you'll be able to lower down all the way. Just sort of, I always just get a little bit of movement here, trying to root my feet down. My hands are at heart center. I'm opening up my knees, so I'm pressing my elbows against my knees, really open up. It's a really nice stretch. My chest is open. I'm not falling forward. It's taking a couple of moments, a couple of breaths here. If it feels like it is just not happening for you, it's another time when your block or whatever you're using for a block works. Just maybe sitting on the edge of it, just to give yourself a little bit of balance. Maybe this way you can plant your heels down onto the mat, but you're still getting this really nice stretch. So even though I can go pretty far down, sometimes I have a kind of a tweaky knee, and I really love the stretch. It just feels really good. Just taking a moment, and this way I can sort of enjoy it, still getting the stretch. Take a couple rounds of breath here. I'm going to plant my hands down, and then I'm going to slowly rise back up, moving my block. Now I'm turning towards the front of my mat. My right foot is in front. Pyramid on this side. So remember, both legs are straight. Toes are facing forward, so they're both pointing towards the front of your mat. And then I'm going to work on my alignment. So getting that feeling like I'm trying to find leveling with my hips. And it doesn't have to be completely square, because it doesn't really work for a lot of us. Just a little bit. And then I begin to activate everything. So I'm squeezing my glutes, my quads, and I'm slow with control. So I'm using that core as I lower down as slow as I can. Remember, there can be a little bit of a bend in that right leg. Really nice stretch. Use your breath. Direct it toward those tight spots in your body. Bend the right leg. Plant the hands. Step back into down dog. Just take a moment here. Take a couple rounds of breath. It's a good time to take a sip of water. If you want to, go into child's pose, whatever works for you. I'm going to do that a little bit one more time. So inhale that right foot up to the sky, pressing those hands against the mat. Bend your right leg. Bring it between your hands, lower your heel. Warrior two. Find your stance. Hinge forward. Reverse the warrior. Rise up. Forearm to your top of your right thigh. Reaching over. Extended side angle. Now you can stay here if you'd like to try a little bit more. Bring that right hand beside your inside of your right foot and lift up. Left hand up to the sky, 12 o'clock. always okay to use a block. Maybe you'll notice that might be working for you. Something to work towards. Now we're going to switch hands. My left hand is now on the floor next to my foot or on the block as I'm reaching up with my right hand. Different kind of stretch, definitely a twist here. Trying to maybe square that chest up towards the hands reaching for the ceiling. Bring my right hand down. I'm going to come up now to the ball of my left foot. Lifting up a little bit. Warrior 3. Using a little bit of this lift up. Little sounds here sometimes help. Really straightening that right leg. Getting that left leg reaching out. Foot is flexed. Finding your balance. I'm reaching for my block. Maybe you are too. Ardha Chandrasana. Excuse me. I'm up. Lifting, finding my balance. I'm going to start to work at coming up off the block. If you fall out, come back. We are working, guys. Slowly lowering my left foot to the mat. Let's work on a little more balance. Vrikshasana, tree pose. Weight is on the left foot. I'm lifting up my right. Now everybody's tree looks a little bit different. So maybe you're bringing that right palm of your foot up to your ankle. Maybe it's coming up to your thigh. Whatever your tree looks like, it's your tree. We just want to avoid the knees. So we don't want to press our foot on the kneecap. We don't want to put any extra pressure on our joints. Then once you figure out where you want to have your foot, work on your arms. Maybe 1 heart center, maybe 2. Maybe you're going to grow some branches. Find that drishti. It's that point of focus, something that's not moving in front of you. Work on your breath. Such a great pose. Working on balance. Opening up that hip. Staying present. And slow with control, let's lower that right foot down. Taking a step, just a couple of feet, 2 or 3 feet. We're going to turn now, do our pyramid pose again. So our left foot is forward, and I'm turning towards the back of my mat. And remember, we want to keep toes facing forward. Legs are straight, unless you're going to have a little bit of a bend in that left leg. And then slowly, whatever works for you, we're lowering down, using that core. All the way down. Finding that amazing stretch. Are you feeling a little more warmed up? Do you feel like maybe you can go a little deeper into it? Maybe someday the left ear is touching the inside of your left knee. Bend that left leg. Plant those hands. Downward facing dog. We're going to do that one more time, guys. Got to do that left leg. Inhale, lift that left foot up to the sky. Bend the leg. Between the hands. Lower your right heel down. Warrior 2. Check your stance. Really getting a nice stretch here. Maybe lowering a little bit more. Hinge forward. Flip your palm. Reverse the warrior. Really make this the best extension in your spine. Lift that chest up. Rise back up. Going into our extended side angle. If you try it on the other side, plant that left hand this time, the inside of your left foot, and reach that right hand up to the sky. Maybe using that block. Switching hands. Right hand is either on the mat or on the block next to your foot, reaching up. Getting a really nice twist here. Breathe into it. Plant the hand. Up now on the ball of my right foot, getting ready to spring up into my warrior three. And every time I think I'm going to hit this wall. Woo. Okay, I'm going into my warrior three. Lowering down. My right foot is flexed. Guys, I'm working at this. Takes practice. Good to be challenged. Reaching for my block. Left hand is on the block. Going into my half moon. Find that balance. Find your strength. Slowly lower that right leg down. Let's do tree on the other side. Weight is in the right leg. Lift that left foot back. Try to match whatever you did on the other side. Again, we usually have a little bit more balance on one side than the other, but we want to try to match it. And then find your tree, whatever that was. You want a little extra challenge? Try shutting down your eyes. Woo! What happens then? Oh, I'm going to fall out of my tree. Then go back into it. Take a moment. Find that drishti. Breathe into it. Lower that left foot down to the mat. Take a step out with that right, and we're going to turn. Right foot is in front. Doing pyramid pose one more time. Engage those muscles. Use that core, and then let's just lower down. Should be all warmed up now. And slowly I'm going to rise back up this time. My left foot is going to meet my right. Let's salute the sun, Urdhva Stasana. So inhale, circle sweep the arms up over your head. Palms are facing each other, lifting up that heart center. There's just a little bit of a slight extension in this thoracic spine. Exhale, palms come together to heart center. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. Exhale. Forward fold. Uttanasana. Your head is heavy. You're releasing your neck, your spine. Your feet can be together. They could be apart. Trying to find some balance here. So maybe your fingers are on the mat. Maybe you want to try to bring them behind your calves. Bring your chest to your thighs as much as you can. Your hips are lifting. There'll be a little bend in the knees. Whatever it is that you need, we're just going to take a moment here. Letting go. Finding breath. If you'd like, you could reach for opposite elbows. A little ragdoll. Whatever it is that you need right now. clench your hands. We're stepping back to a high plank for just a moment. And we're all going to meet on our belly. So if you'd like, you could slowly lower down. We're all meeting here. Bend your legs. Dhanurasana, or floor bow. Now we're going to do this twice, so if you'd like to do just one leg at a time, lower your left leg down, reach back. Right hand is gripping the outside of your right foot. And then you're going to reach that left hand in front of you. Thumb is pointing up to the ceiling. If you're doing both legs, reaching for the outside of your feet. Exhale to prepare. Inhale, lifts you up. Really open up that chest, stretching those shoulders. Squeeze your glutes. Every inhale lifts you up a little bit more. And then exhale, lower down. Right ear to the mat. Arms are long by your side. Maybe keeping your legs bent and doing this little windshield wiper motion. Let's do that one more time. Remember, if you did the one leg, this time you're going to reach for your left foot. Right hand is reaching out in front of you. Thumb is facing up towards the ceiling. Both legs, you're reaching for the outside of your feet or your ankles. Try to bring those knees a little bit closer together. Exhale, prepare. Inhale. Lifts you up. Really try to get up to that soft part of your belly. Really amazing extension in the spine. Keep breathing. Keep stretching. And then lower down. Left ear to the mat this time. Maybe legs going back and forth. Feel your heart beating on the mat. We're going to rise up, coming onto our knees. Knees are at hip width distance. Ustrasana, our camel pose. Your hands come to your lower back. It's as if you're putting your hands in those back pockets, if you have back pockets. Elbows are coming close together. And then we're going to hips coming out. Lift that chest up, gaze comes up. Getting amazing back bend here. Squeeze those glutes. Hips are up. Begin to going into this back bend, extension in the spine. Maybe you're reaching for your heels of your feet. Keep lifting, keep breathing. Slowly rise back up. We're going to go into Balasana, little seat for just a moment. So your hips are on your heels, arms long by your side. Maybe your forehead is on the mat. Just a couple rounds of breath here. Feel free to stay here, or if you'd like, we're going to do camel one more time. Coming back up on our knees. This time, let's go on our toes. So, if I hope you can see, my heels are pointing up towards the ceiling. Hands come your lower back, sliding those fingertips into your back pockets. Lift that chest. Hips are coming out. And then you're going to go back. Maybe this time, reaching for those heels. They're a little bit higher this time. Really opening up that chest. Maybe your gaze is coming to that back wall. But keep that extension. Squeeze those glutes. Don't fall back. Let it really open up here. And slowly, one hand at a time, come back up. Lowering down for a moment on those knees. Take a moment, take a sip of water if you'd like. And we're going to come up to tabletop. We're going to then we're going to reach those fingertips out in front of us. So now we're going to do a little bit of countering those back bends, extension of the spine by rounding the shoulders, rounding the spine. So start to feel that rounding. Your head is heavy. You're really pressing on those fingertips. And then I'm going to come back up on my toes. It's a little bit of rocket cat here. So maybe you're staying here, still getting a really nice stretch in your feet. Really, this feels so good on your spine, on your shoulders. Maybe just slowly, you're pressing with those fingertips, bringing those heels or your hips to heels. And we don't want to hurt. We're just trying to stretch. If it feels like it's too much, ease back. Taking a couple rounds of breath here. So maybe you start to feel like you could go back to it a little bit more. Let's rise back up. Plant those hands. Maybe tap the tops of your feet. Such a nice stretch on the feet. We don't really get to stretch our feet like that very often. We're going to meet on our sits bones. And we're all going to lower down onto our back. So if you want to just lie down, that's okay. If you want to get a little extra core in, reach forward with your fingers. Palms are facing to the ceiling. Then I'm just going to slowly, as slow as I can, lower down onto my back. I'm going to keep my knees bent. I think I might turn this way. My knees are bent. Bringing that right ankle to my left knee. Lifting up that left leg. My foot is flexed. Reaching through to get a clasp behind my left leg's thigh. And then just getting maybe a little movement here. Go to the right, left. This stretch is really amazing. I love this for really stretching my glutes. You know, sit around too much. This always feels really nice on my hip. Maybe using that right elbow to open up just a little bit more. I'm going to release my clasp, bring my hands down. And I'm just going to slowly go to the left, getting a little bit of a twist here. So I'm making the connection, both my legs to the mat, maybe bringing my left hip to the midline of the yoga mat, just so that I can make that connection. Then if you'd like, you can open your arms out to a T, palms are open, facing the ceiling. If you want a little more of a stretch, you could always look over to your right fingertips. These twists are just so important for our spine. Helps with our digestive system. Come back to center. Let's do the other side. Left ankle to right knee, lifting up that right leg, reaching through, making that clasp, and then just start to feel that stretch. I always forget which hip is more tight than the other, and then I do this and I realize, oh yeah, it's this one. If I go a little bit to the right, I really get that really nice opening, that piriformis muscle that's deep in your glutes. This is a perfect stretch for that. A lot of people that are runners, they use this stretch to really open up, get back there, loosen up those muscles. Let's release the clasp. And then this time let's go to the right. So both your legs on the mat. Let's make that connection. Maybe arms out, palms open. Maybe you're glancing at your left fingertips. You want to keep those shoulders on the mat or on the floor. this feels like it's just too much, you can always bring that left hand to that left hip. Still getting a twist here, still really getting nice feeling, but if it's just feeling like it's too much, just want to ease back. Let's bring those legs back up. Legs are still bent, feet are planted. Just bring those knees to chest just for a moment. Squeeze those knees in, feeling that spine on the mat, that lengthening, that space we've created. And slowly, let's release. Going to the final Shavasana. Take up some room on that mat. Your arms are out, open, palms are facing the ceiling, shoulders are away from your ears, your face is relaxed. Just take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out. Let's do one more of those. Inhale. Sigh it out. Just feel yourself melting into your mat. Your breath is slowing down. Your heart rate is slowing down. Just stay here just a little bit longer, staying present, really enjoying what this practice has given you just a little bit longer. I invite you to stay in your Shavasana, or you can start to get some movement. Wiggle those fingers and toes. When you're ready, going onto your side. And if you'd like, you could sit up, meet me in Sukhasana, our easy seated pose, crisscross applesauce. Maybe you feel comfortable keeping your eyes closed for a little bit longer. Perhaps bring your hands to heart center, sealing in this practice. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through this practice. Thank you for giving me grace through my flaws and my struggles with balance. Continue to take care of yourself. Find your balance where you need it. The light in me sees and appreciates the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you.